This episode of the Sloopcast is brought to you by the Mad Canadian Barbecue Company. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company is an Ohio-based company where they usually say our seasoning will take your barbecue from good to great. Great seasoning such as the Discord, the Four Horsemen, the Carry Steak, or the Oak, for those in Ohio, can't go wrong with any great seasonings that the Mad Canadian has over at the madcanadianbbq.com. That is the madcanadianbbq.com. Be sure to use the promo code SloopCast10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order. That is SloopCast10. Be sure to check out all of the social media sites over at the Mad Canadian to check out where he and his food truck is heading next. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, where they have your butt covered.
This episode of the Sloopcast also brought to you by the Iron Bean Coffee Company. Kyle, Christmas. It's Christmas. It's almost Christmas. It's in that sort of Christmassy thing. We're starting to get like the early Christmas gifts going. And if you have a coffee snob in your life who is a coffee snob, let's just call it what it is, they probably want some Iron Bean coffee. Amazing selections, light roast, dark roast. But if you're not a coffee snob and you don't know your way around all of that, you can get them a gift card. They have gift cards. They have a sampler pack, which will give your coffee snob, your familial or maybe friend, coffee snob, 6 different ones to choose from in the sampler pack. Or like I said, you can get them a gift card and let them buy their own damn coffee. You can find all of that and a lot more at ironbeancoffee.com. That's Iron Bean Coffee, America's local coffee roaster. What's up, YouTube?
Did we all make it through the bye week?
Bye week surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, oh, you're going to need to mute that.
Phone needs muted.
What are you doing, Kyle? We're professionals, damn it.
We're good.
We're good now?
We're good.
All right.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
I'm doing all right. How are you, Jared?
I was going to say I have no complaints, but that's not true. I have many complaints. Only a couple of them actually relevant to this podcast, though.
All right.
Complaint number 1, second week in a row without Team Chaos. We haven't had a Team Chaos in
any major Team Chaos.
I have not dropped a Team Chaos in 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, so I guess it's more like 3 weeks. The only thing we have even slightly resembling a Team Chaos was Notre Dame beating Clemson, but they're both undefeated playoff contending. That's not really chaos. That's definitely a loss for Clemson, but not chaos by any means.
I think all weekend we only had one team, and we don't talk about this, Jared, but we have one team that was ranked that lost to an unranked team.
And even that, We'll talk about. I can't even name you who that is, which goes to show you how little I thought of whoever lost.
Yes,
but we'll get into that later.
Let's talk about some Buckeye and college football news here. Basketball.
Yeah,
I haven't talked about basketball much here, but
let's start off the show with a little bit of basketball.
Yeah, I know basketball. In basketball news, it's been pretty bad for Ohio State with injuries and players not being able to play and all that, but got some good news though. Ohio State lands, and I gotta adjust this.
No one sees the notes, Kyle. You didn't have to fix it.
Ohio State lands 2022 prospect shooting guard Rudy Gay Jr. out of New York. He is currently the 54th best prospect in the country. Best player in the state of New York, and the 7th best shooting guard for the 2022 class.
Probably worth noting that I think a lot of what I've seen is that he's ranked as a shooting guard. A lot of people are calling him a combo guard.
Yes. Correct.
So shooting guard, point guard, shooting guard, whatever. But yeah, this is a really nice pickup. I don't think we ever talked about. I think we talked about it in the Discord that Ohio State was in very good shape here, and Ohio State ends up signing a really nice class. They even had a player reclassify to help because as Kyle was saying, there's been some rough news in the Ohio State basketball program as far as player injuries, transfer eligibility. So Ohio State does get a reclassification to get some players in this year to help with this team. So some good news, some bad news on the basketball front. If they continue on with the basketball schedule as they plan to currently, then I'm not sure how much basketball we're going to be able to talk this year with them playing a lot of overlap with the college football season. But I don't know. I think Rick Pitino came out this week and sort of declared his wish that they would just sort of push everything back. I have no idea if that will be taken seriously, but
yeah. Well, we are now, as this is being released on Monday, Jared, 16 days until opening tip-off.
Yeah, 16 days. So, again, I really don't know how much basketball we're going to be able to cover this year with the football delay and the football overlap and all of that. But if you want to talk to us about basketball, discord.thesloopcast.com.
Yes. All right. One other news here. We'll get more into this on Friday's episode. But as of we're recording this on Sunday afternoon, late afternoon, Ohio State 21 point favorite over Indiana.
Which goes to show you that no one, and when I say dislikes, I don't mean dislikes the Ohio State brand, but no one is as concerned or disgruntled with the current Ohio State play as Ohio State fans. Ohio State fans think very little of Ohio State right now. Not all of you. I don't mean to brush with such a, but yeah, it's, I don't know, like you guys are being a little rough is I think what I'm trying to say. 21 points over undefeated top 10 Indiana. I just acknowledge the rankings again, Kyle, but it's Indiana. We must acknowledge the fact that they are top 10.
This is actually interesting. I saw this being posted on social media. The states of Indiana versus Ohio.
Yeah.
2 teams in Indiana combined 12-0.
Yep.
2 teams in Ohio combined 10-0.
Yep.
Let's just go at it.
the Ohio, Indiana.
Cincinnati versus Indiana. Ohio State versus Notre Dame. Let's go at it.
I mean, Ohio State versus Notre Dame in the playoff feels potentially possible. They both seem to be headed there. I don't know what bowl game, A, is even going to happen this year outside of the Blue Blood Bowl games, and B, would host Indiana versus Ohio. But that doesn't mean I don't want to see it. I don't see how that happens.
Yep. All right. Anything else before we go into some games here we're going to cover?
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about the national scope here, but I think we also want to, because this is, I guess, sort of the midway point of the Big Ten season. So we want to take a look at the Big Ten. But I think we're going to primarily talk about, because we're bad people who enjoy the suffering of others, Penn State and Michigan, I think is who we're going to spend a lot of time on. So, Kyle, who do we want to talk about first? Well, the team that's our rival or the team that's not our rival?
Let's go ahead and do the team up north first.
Okay. Yeah, not great. What's going on in Ann Arbor?
Yeah. Well, the first quarter says it all for the year. Wisconsin takes a easy 14-point lead in the first quarter, and it's just funny still seeing it. Outgaining Michigan 128 or 129 yards to 1.
Whew. How about this? Here's a stat for you, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin scored 4 touchdowns before Michigan attained 1 first down. Yikes.
Yikes indeed.
28-0 at halftime. Michigan does get some third quarter points, and then Wisconsin goes in and piles it on a little bit more. We talked about this game as a pick your quarterback game. I know Tom and I talked about that a lot on the Morning Scoop on Friday, and I know Kyle and I talked about it a lot on during the Sloop Picks on this podcast on Friday. Pick your quarterback. And I do not believe for 1 second this narrative that Milton is getting any better.
Nope, he went 500. He threw 50%
under
and started 0-4 with 2 interceptions. He started off his QB rating at negative 100.
Oh, now that being said,
I didn't know it can go negative.
That being said, Mertz did not have a great game either.
No, he was 12 for 22. So what is that? That's
55,
roughly 60%ish.
55,
something like that.
55.
55. Okay.
It's like 54 point, but yeah, it's like 55.
But 127 yards, but they didn't really try to beat Michigan in the air, which I thought was a little surprising. They just pound them in the ground right through the trenches all game. 51 rushes, 341 yards.
Well, it's worth pointing out that they were up 28-0 at halftime. So
that is true.
You don't do a lot of passing in the second half when you're up 28-0. It's very what went right for Michigan? Because we saw we're going to talk about Penn State a little bit more later. We saw Penn State get blown out against Indiana too. At least Penn State made it a game. Maybe to say made it, but they made it interesting against Nebraska. They at least got. I think I said Indiana before. I meant to say Nebraska. They made it interesting against Nebraska. They got in there late. They made Nebraska fans sweat. I know. I follow a bunch of them on Twitter.
I think 2 things for Michigan after those first 2 picks.
Yeah.
No more turnovers. They didn't have any more turnovers for the rest of the game.
Okay.
And they only had 4 penalties. They kept it pretty clean in penalties.
Man, we're reaching, Kyle.
I know. Wisconsin only had 1 penalty all game, which is amazing being out for you haven't played a football game in 3 weeks.
That is correct, sir.
And you only caused 1, or your team only had 1 penalty for 5 yards.
Yeah.
Kudos to those players and the coaching staff really getting on Wisconsin there. So, I mean, you have Wisconsin, no turnovers, only had 1 penalty there. Man, that's tough to take on Wisconsin. Wisconsin's definitely a threat. I know that Mertz didn't look good here.
In defense,
you look at there, they're not turning the ball over. They're not hurting themselves on drives. They're giving them a chance to go down and make plays and push the ball down the field. This is a tough Wisconsin team that at the beginning of the year we didn't think highly of.
So let me say this in defense of Mertz, who I am a big fan of. Because the Big Ten said he had to be out for like 21 days, he didn't get to practice. He didn't even get to practice with his team until last week. And not at the beginning of last week either. So
I think only had like 2 days or something like that.
Yeah, so let's give Mertz a little bit of room. Like he did not, as Kyle and I have both said at this point, he did not have a great game. I still think he's a tremendous quarterback. I still think Wisconsin is very dangerous.
Mm-hmm. But
no, but
this Michigan team.
Oh,
though.
okay, yeah. if the but is to transition us back into Michigan, then that is fine.
Man, Michigan now 1-3, and we said at the start of this Big Ten season, there is a good chance Michigan go 4-4. Now the thing is, can Michigan get to 4-4?
No, I mean maybe. I mean it's possible, but how much money, Kyle? Straight up, how much money would you be willing to bet that Michigan beats Rutgers?
Man, sitting here now, this is in Rutgers. It's a night game on BTN.
Do we have a line on that yet? Do you know? I can look it up. You talk. I'll look it up.
Let me see if this has anything. Not that I see yet.
Okay.
They're giving Michigan a 63% chance to win, but man, I wouldn't even give that. I think this is almost a toss up. Honestly, I would probably think right now the line would probably be about 4.5 to Michigan would be my guess. I may be way off, but I would say 4.5.
I would not say that Michigan versus Rutgers would be a toss up. I think I like that 60. What would you say it was?
63.
Is that the ESPN game predictor? I think that's about right. I would have probably said 60.
Because you look at the stats here, very, very similar. When you look at passing percentage wise, it's about the same. Both quarterbacks throwing interceptions, they're about 1-for-1 ratio, and don't really have a true good running back to really rely on either.
Yeah, nothing's going right, and yeah, it's all very, very, very bad. They beat Minnesota.
When's the last time we seen this from a Michigan team? They are
when they were giving away tickets with the purchase of a free Pepsi, or free tickets with the purchase of a Pepsi. I'm sorry, 2 Pepsis. I'm sorry.
When's the last time we've seen a Michigan team give up more yards than they actually achieve on offense?
Probably pretty frequently. Or you mean like for the entire season, or?
Yeah, on average.
Oh.
They are allowing 426 yards per game, and on offense they're doing 377.
Yeah.
That's about 50-yard difference there per game.
I mean, they've lost to Michigan State, who is very bad.
Very.
They lost to they lost to Indiana, and Indiana looks like a pretty decent team, but they weren't in that game.
Nope.
The finals
weren't in this game.
And then they lose to Wisconsin, who is now also top 10. And we're never in that game. They could have been a MAC team. That's about what that looked like. That looked like Wisconsin playing a MAC team. It's just that simple. All right, so Kyle, can Michigan get to 500?
Well, let's look at the rest of their schedule here. Next up, they have Rutgers that we mentioned.
They should, but I wouldn't put any money. Let's give it to them.
Let's say they are 2-3.
Okay.
Penn State.
Who knows?
This is in Michigan. The game's in Michigan.
Does that matter?
But I guess it didn't matter. I mean, look at this game here.
I mean, generally speaking, especially in the Big Ten, no fans. Does it matter? Is there a home field advantage in 2020? I mean, it probably is. You get to sleep in your own bed the night before. Yeah. That's worth something, but it's not the same.
Depends on the DJ and what they're playing over the PAs. I mean, listen to the Ohio State Penn State game. That line was constantly going.
Yeah, but that's normal.
All right. Let's not count that one because that one's a toss-up. 2-3. Maryland, 3-3. Let's just give it to him because Maryland's been on and off.
Okay. I don't think they win that game. I'm just saying it right now, Kyle. I don't think they beat Maryland. And
then Ohio State. They would lose 3. That's 3-4. Looking at Penn State, the Penn State game, and maybe Maryland too, but for sake of arguing here, the Penn State game could be the difference between a losing season or a 500 season.
I don't see them beating Maryland. I do not see them beating Maryland.
And then brings up the next question here. Will Harbaugh's contract end early?
Yeah, by the way, I said on several episodes of the podcast that Harbaugh's contract was ending at the end of this year. That is not true.
Yeah, it's 2021.
Next season. It ends at the end of next season. I said that several times, and I was eventually, thankfully, corrected. Yeah.
Will they actually cancel the contract this year and just say, hey, we're just going to cut our losses?
I wonder if Harbaugh is just going to find an NFL job. He's not going to get fired. His contract won't get terminated. They'll come to a mutually agreed upon settlement for the remainder of the contract. And
where would be a perfect place for him to go?
Some NFL team. I don't know.
You know where would be a perfect place?
Where's that?
The Jets.
Can you imagine Harbaugh with the New York media? Good God. I don't know enough about all of the different details of what's going on in the NFL right now to have a strong opinion on that. But I think he goes to the NFL, and he and Michigan mutually agree to part ways.
Yep.
All right, Kyle.
I think the fan base are ready for that now.
I think everyone is ready for that now.
I think they were ready for that after the Indiana game.
Yeah. I think they were ready for it after the Ohio State game last year.
All right. Speaking of fan bases not wanting to get rid of their coaches, Penn State.
Yeah. I tell you what,
State.
Can we split up our ad reads this episode? Let's do a quick ad read. I think I'll do this one first.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, we'll just do one of the ad reads. We'll come back to the next one at about the 40-minute mark.
All right, let's hear from our good friends over at the Iron Bean Coffee Company.
Iron Bean Coffee Company. I'll let you know you can buy gift cards for Christmas. You can buy that sampler pack for Christmas. But let's talk about maybe not what you can buy, but why you should buy. The Iron Bean Coffee Company is a world-class hand-roasted micro-batch coffee company. They roast your coffee beans to order. They do not sit in a warehouse. They do not sit in the back of the shop. They do not sit in the back room at Kroger. They do not sit on the shelf for months and months and months and months on end. You place the order on the website. They roast it. They grind it if you ask them to. They stick it in a box and they ship it directly to your house. You're getting the freshest possible coffee, and you can even get it even that much more fresh if you live or are willing to drive to Perrysburg, which is near Toledo, because you can also pick it up in store. You can avoid shipping costs and get it that much faster. And by the way, as far as shipping costs goes, free shipping over $50. Again, you're supporting an Ohio company. You're supporting a veteran-owned, he's ex-Marine company. All of the beans are organic, USDA certified, and fair trade certified, which, if you know anything about the morality of coffee beans, is a really big deal. So not only buy your coffee and have your coffee feel good, but also feel good about buying this coffee, both from a supporting a veteran and making sure you're not taking advantage of a third-class country. It's just all good. It's all integrity. It's all good. And by the way, it all tastes fantastic. You can find all of that and a lot more at ironbeancoffee.com. That's Iron Bean Coffee, America's local coffee roaster. All right, Kyle, let's talk about Penn State.
Penn State, Nebraska. Nebraska wins 30-23, and it was... At halftime, it was a 27-6 lead for Nebraska, and Penn State slowly chipped out that but it just wasn't enough in the end as Nebraska holds on.
Yeah, Penn State made it interesting, which, by the way, Kyle, if we're going to talk about who's going to win Penn State versus Michigan, I'm going to pick Penn State. And it's based on this. Both of these teams went down big against opponents that they probably consider inferior, whether that be true or not. Well, but both went down big against opponents that they probably considered to be inferior. One of these teams fought back.
Mm-hmm.
One of these teams still have some fight in them. Yeah. The big narrative that Penn State has quit on James Franklin. Penn State has quit on James Franklin. I don't believe they have. I think that they were going to be down talent-wise this year anyway. Then they lose a bunch of their running backs to injuries and other things. They lost their best defensive player who decided to opt out of this season. Their offensive line is garbage. Their quarterbacks are garbage. You're not going to win games when most of your best players don't play and your offensive line is bad and your quarterbacks are bad. You just aren't. And then, by the way, this weird COVID season, this 2020 season that we're in right now, they turned over 4 assistant coaches during the offseason. That puts you at a disadvantage considering everything that is and was 2020 in this football season.
Yep.
I'm not willing, as far as from a program standpoint, the season's busted. But as far as a program standpoint, I'm not pulling the panic switch on Penn State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Penn State's had a pretty tough schedule. I mean, they played Indiana and Ohio State, 2 top 10 teams. Well, I guess you could say the same thing with Michigan as well, playing 2 top 10 teams right now as well. But at least with Penn State, they've made it competitive. Look at 3 of their 4 losses, so minus the Ohio State game, Indiana, Maryland, Nebraska, all of them, they've outgained their opponents. So that tells me that there's been some turnovers or
bad red zone. Terrible,
bad red zone. Yeah,
terrible
bad
in the
red
zone
probably too. Because you look at like this game here, Penn State outgained Nebraska 501 to 298. You look at the Indiana game, it was 488 to 211. The Maryland game, that one's closer. It was 434 to 405. So that one was pretty even. But all of these here had something very similar. Turnovers, bad red zones.
Well, and just look at the Penn State-Indiana game. Again, like we think Penn State, we now, how things have shifted. Week 1, we thought Indiana beating Penn State was a huge upset. Now it almost looks predictable. But let's remember how that game played out. Penn State wins that football game if their running back doesn't score a touchdown at the end of regulation. Or towards the end of regulation. Indiana might have actually won that football game, depending upon how you feel about Penix reaching out and hitting the pylon with the football.
Mm-hmm.
They almost won that game. They looked good against Ohio State. Now, I never thought that they were actually going to win that game, but they didn't look bad against a really good Ohio State team. Maryland, I don't know what the hell happened there.
3 turnovers is what happened. They were -3 in the turnover.
And again, they're playing terrible in the red zone. Their quarterback is getting sacked constantly. And Clifford's very, very bad. Mm-hmm. And Levis is, I think, better, but I think that says more about Clifford than it says about Levis. So I see people complaining about Penn State's play calling. I'm not going to defend their play calling because I really haven't watched Penn State with the amount of with the analytical whatever to really judge their play calling. What I will say is that if you don't have an offensive line and you don't have a quarterback and all of your running backs basically are out for one reason or another, I don't know what play you're going to call that's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to defend their play calling, but one, your play calling, what's available to you is incredibly limited in what you think you can actually execute. And even then, the plays that you are including in the play calls, who's executing them?
Yeah, Clifford is not executing them that well at all. Looking compared to all last year, he threw 7 interceptions all of last year. 23 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. This year, through 4 games, 9 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So he's pretty much almost totaled all of last year, too, in just 4 games. He's just not taking care of the ball, and having an offer in the win column so far shows it right there. Not taking care of the ball, not executing on offense.
Yeah. And again, if we're talking big scope, if we pull out, I think that it would be a mistake, quite frankly, to fire Franklin. Pun really not intended, I promise. I think it'd be a huge mistake. I don't know that Penn State gets better unless they know they can get someone better. I don't think Franklin is a bad program coach. I do think that he probably he's a bad in-game coach. I'll say that. Franklin's a very bad in-game coach. I think he's done a good job building the Penn State program. I think he's a terrible in-game coach. I think he's a good culture builder. I think he's recruiting about as well as Penn State can hope to recruit right now. I mean, Ohio State loses guys to Penn State.
I mean, look at Micah Parsons.
There's issues with Micah Parsons, but look at Derek Davis Jr. Look at Oweh. There's Noah Kane, a guy who they're missing a lot right now, is a guy Ohio State wanted. Ohio State loses guys to Penn State in recruiting. They are doing well in recruiting. I like them from a culture standpoint. This year, all of the things this year has just been a little too much for them. That being said, they're performing terribly right now. I can't get over A, that they looked good against Ohio State, and B, they should have beat Indiana. They maybe, again, depending on how you feel about that play call, did beat Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild. I don't get it. Kyle, do you have any theories, any other theories about what the hell's happening with Penn State right now?
I don't think Penn State's as bad as their record, honestly. They're not. As you mentioned, they were one play away from winning, beating Indiana.
Several one plays away.
And Nebraska, it just not executing and multiple turnovers cost them. Wasn't one of those the Nebraska defense scored a touchdown? I can't remember if it was Nebraska or if it was a different game.
No, there was a scoop and score.
Okay,
if that's what you're asking.
Yeah. So I mean, there's the difference right there too. I think Penn State is right there, and I think they have a lot better chance at going 500 for the season compared to Michigan, even though Michigan has one more win than them currently.
Yeah. Deontay Williams recovered a fumble and returned it 26 yards for a touchdown. That put Nebraska up 24-3.
Yep. All right. I do have.
Speaking of, real quick, if we're talking about Penn State, Nebraska, Luke McCaffrey. I know I just stumbled. Is getting better. I think he's going to be very good. That's it. I think we can when we revisit McCaffrey next year. Don't just be like, well, he was bad against Ohio State. No, he's getting better. So just keep an eye on McCaffrey. That's all I'm going to say.
I do have one news here, though, Jared, and it might affect Ohio State this weekend.
Okay.
Because it's just coming in.
Okay, we have news that is breaking for us?
The Mac related Mac school,
Okay.
Ohio and Miami of Ohio has been canceled. And that's really close to Columbus, Ohio right there.
Is it?
Ohio and Miami, Ohio?
But it's not like, I don't know. I don't think that's cause for, the way you were coming at me with that, I was afraid you were about to tell me that Penix tested positive. You know what I mean? Like you were coming at me real serious there for a second. Because there's a conspiracy theory, and I think someone asks us about it in the Ask Sloopcast. But there's conspiracy theories out there. We'll talk about it later during the Ask Sloopcast section.
Yeah.
That
it's not good news coming Sunday already. We just had games just a day ago, and it's already stuff coming out.
Well, except this is essentially Wednesday for Mac because they're playing all
That's
their
true.
games.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Right.
this is midweek for them.
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right. Let's talk. Let's do a quick overview of the Big Ten right now. Quick overview.
All right. Really quick. Okay.
The Hoosiers are number 1 in the East.
If you go by more wins, yes.
Well, that literally is how the rankings work.
Mm-hmm.
The Terrapins are 3rd in the East, even if you want to say like Indiana's 1A and Ohio State's 1B. 3rd place, the Terrapins. 4th place is a tie between Michigan State, Rutgers, and of course, your Fighting Wolverines.
Unless you want to start talking about tiebreakers, but
I don't care that much. They're all 1 and 3. I don't care about tiebreakers at 1 and 3.
yes.
At the Western Division, just as we all predicted, Northwestern is 4-0. Wisconsin, 4 weeks into the season, is 2-0. And the Gophers are 1 and 3. Purdue 2-1. Iowa 2-2. So disappointed in the Gophers this year. Really thought this was going to be the year for them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you're Fighting Illini, who actually are fighting, and that's not me being clever this time. You're Fighting Illini 1 and 3. Kyle, which one of these is not like the other?
That would be the Big Ophir with the Nittany Lions.
I said it several times on the Morning Scoop on Friday that we know 2 things in the Big Ten. Ohio State's good and Illinois is bad. Well, guess what? Illinois has a win, which is more than they can say in Happy Valley.
Yes.
All right, Kyle. Mad Canadian read?
Yes. Let's talk about the Mad Canadian. Christmas is coming around the corner here, and the Mad Canadian has put out a magic trick in his laboratory.
He's got his lab, his gift shop.
His gift shop, yes.
He's got a Santa beard. It's not white, but it's majestic.
It is very majestic. He has 3 new gift sets over at the Mad Canadian on starting Monday. Hopefully he has it there Monday, but he told us on Monday. He says, save some money on the barbecuer in your life for Christmas. They have 3 gift sets on the website. He has one called Just Send It, which has the S&P Bud, the Sonoran Heat, Cajun, and the Smoked. You can go with the Sweet Heat, which has the 4 Horsemen, Discord, 2 Border, and the Old Fashioned. Or Jared, probably our favorite, the Whole Hog, which is one of each of the 14 seasonings.
Oh my
that Canadian
goodness.
has right now.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So
pricing's on each gift set will be listed on the website. He hasn't listed it for us yet, but check out his website, themadcanadianbbq.com. That is themadcanadianbbq.com to check out those pricings.
And don't forget about Sloopcast 10 to get 10% off the whole hog or just one bottle.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
So,
1 bottle, 10% off. The whole hog, 10% off. It doesn't matter.
Save 10 extra percent off with Sloopcast 10. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, he's got your butt covered for Christmas.
Kyle, it feels a little dirty to be doing Christmas ads already.
Dude, there's Christmas everywhere. Right
I know.
Now. Everybody.
I am such a wait for Thanksgiving guy, but we're talking about buying things and shipping things, so you have to.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm such a don't bring that to me until after Thanksgiving type person. But whatever. I understand. There's shipping and fulfillment involved. We have to worry about this stuff now.
Yeah. And I've seen many trees in homes already.
I'm sure.
All right. Let's get to some Ask Sloopcast questions.
Kyle, we have a new mini feature in the Ask Sloopcast.
Yes. Before I get to our listener questions, let me ask you, the listener, a question myself here. So our question of the week. So speaking of Penn State and Michigan in our earlier segment, name a Wolverine player, current or former.
No players, just Wolverines.
Oh, just Wolverines? Okay.
Just Wolverines.
Any Wolverine. Coach, player, anybody. That you actually like.
Our answer, we'll get the obvious one out of the way. We love him. We base our opening off of him as Gus Johnson.
Yes.
We love Gus Johnson. We forgive him for being a Wolverine and for naming his dog Bo. We forgive you, Gus Johnson. We like you that much. So yeah, Gus Johnson is, I think, the Sloopcast pick. But who's your favorite Wolverine? Let us know in the Discord, on Twitter, email, on YouTube comments, wherever you want. All right, Kyle. Now let's get into the Sloopcast questions for us instead of by us.
All right, we got quite a few here. So Duncan asks, is it just me or have there been a lot more procedural penalties than normal?
Yeah. Lack of practice time during the off season, lack of spring practice, lack of spring games. Yeah. And I think this is why you also see everyone's the Big 12 right now. It's harder to play defense without practice than it is to play offense without practice. Mm-hmm. So that's why the offenses are so far ahead right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right. One other question from Duncan. Let's assume the team up north finds their miracle Urban Meyer caliber coach.
Okay.
How many years until the team up north becomes a real threat to win the game and the Big Ten?
So let's say that they have an Urban Meyer, whether it's just like clone Urban Meyer, except make him blue. I'd say if he's really actually Urban Meyer caliber, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's you at least get your guys from a recruiting standpoint in there as sophomores. Yep. I think realistically, probably more like 3 years, because that's how recruiting classes work. When Urban Meyer showed up to Ohio State, he fixed the recruiting class before it ended, which only Urban Meyer could do. To turn around a recruiting class in the matter of months, only Urban Meyer could do that. And B, I don't remember if I said 1 or A the first time, so I'm just going to go, and B, that's also not really possible anymore because of the early signing period. The early signing period happens before most of the coaching carousel.
Yeah.
So it's actually probably 3. I've talked myself out of 2. It's 3 years.
And what, as much as we enjoy watching Michigan struggle over the past, it's been a while. Yeah. It's been a good while.
Yeah, it has.
I don't really think it's so much on the coaches or the players themselves, because recruiting wise, they're there. They should be able to win and compete every year. Not being able to win the Big Ten every year, but every once in a while.
Sure.
So let's go to Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
On his 3 reasons why he thinks what the issue is at Michigan here.
I think he was speaking. Was he speaking specifically of Michigan, or was he speaking, I think, generally? It's
in general, but related to Michigan, but in general. Three issues here. One, a trust issue. There's no trust between the coaches and the players to the coaches. There's just
or
no
the players
trust
to
at
the
all.
players or the coaches to the coaches.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. The second thing is it's a dysfunctional work environment. It's just a very toxic environment. A lot of anger, a lot of frustration because you're not winning. Things aren't going your way. You're like, oh, we're Michigan. We should be able to defeat Indiana and Rutgers teams without breaking a sweat. And when it's not happening, there's a lot of
we
frustration
heard
going on.
a lot of reports in 2011, which we referred to as the lost season on this podcast, between basically Luke Fickell and Mike Vrabel, who were sort of the new coaches. Luke Fickell being the head coach and him bringing in Vrabel, and then sort of Tressel's guys, and how there was a lot of differing opinions and differing attitudes in there. So, you look at Ohio State's one bad season in a very long time, and there's a lot of rumor and hearsay, but a lot of it about how dysfunctional the coaching staff was between like Tressel's guys and not Tressel's guys.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And how hard it was for Luke Fickell to work with a coaching staff that he did not put together.
Yes. Yep. And then the third reason is selfishness. And this is more of, you can kind of look at this with Sean Wade in a way. He talked about that he's wanting to make the interceptions instead of just doing the breakup passes. Doing the ugly work.
Yeah.
To make your team better.
I think
run some pass blocking for running backs, being able to block the corners as a wide receiver.
J.K. Dobbins talked about this as a junior about his sophomore year, where he said one of the reasons why he had a bad sophomore year but had such a good freshman and junior year was because he was trying to break big runs too often, and he was trying to like win the job and win carries over Mike Weber instead of just doing his job.
Yep. So those are the three reasons: trust, dysfunctional, and selfishness.
Yeah. So, how many? If they had an Urban Meyer, 3 years? Do you think that's what it would take to fix Michigan
3 years,
right now?
3 years is a good number. 2, if they have really good recruiting class, they good players there.
I really don't think that they do, and the guys,
because
they're not recruiting at where they were a couple years ago. I think the news is broke on what Michigan is now, and they're not really getting their top tier guys anymore. And even the top tier guys who are still in and around the program who were top, they're not going to reach their potential because of the bad coaching staff.
Yep.
All right, Kyle, this one is from a new patron, a new official Sloop Cat. He goes by Maxtermind. Mastermind? Maxtermind. I like it. Has there ever been a coach that's been loved more for not winning a natty than Bo Schembechler? That's a frequent gripe I have on this show. The love, the admiration, Gus Johnson, who named his dog Bo, for Bo Schembechler when he's the third best coach, in my opinion, in Michigan history. Third. Yost is your number 1. Carr is your number 2. That's not debatable to me.
Yep. Nope, absolutely. Yeah, I can't really think of one either. I understand the reasons why they love Bo, but in the grand scheme of things, shouldn't be as much as others.
It's really just because of he and Cooper's rivalry. I think they're defining a thing they love.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say Cooper?
You did say
Cooper.
Cooper.
My God. Punish me. Woody, of course, Woody Hayes. I think it was such a thing between Woody Hayes and such a rivalry, the thing people have written many books about. And I think that they just sort of like, oh, Ohio State had Woody Hayes and we had Bo Schembechler. And they're defining, like I said, their guy based off of where Ohio State was at the time, which says a lot about this rivalry. All right, this one's from Cooper. How does the recruiting ban extension affect the two Washington boys, JT and Emeka? First and foremost, I'm like 95% sure with Emeka and 90% sure with JTT that they're coming to Ohio State. This might affect their timeline. I think it was the Under Armour All-American game has been canceled. I don't know where what used to be the Army All-American. I think it's something different now. I don't think it's sponsored by the Army anymore, but whatever that game is, I'm not sure where that's standing right now. I still am hearing, and by hearing, I mean reading on the Buckeye Scoop message board, I'm still hearing that JTT does not plan, he has never planned on signing during the early period, that he's going to wait until actual National Signing Day, but that Emeka does want to sign during the early signing period. And now they're just not going to get to do their trips. And that sucks, and that's awful, but that's 2020. But I don't, it might affect the timeline, but I don't think it affects their ultimate decision. I still am rolling hard with these guys coming to Ohio State.
Yes. All right. Next question from Brawley. Is it better to have the extra week to game plan for Indiana while they couldn't focus on us? Or is it worse since we didn't have to play up game against Maryland?
I'll take the rest, and I'll take Ryan Day and the staff having extra time to focus on Indiana.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely lean on that more, but I wish that we had an extra game to see what fixes they were planning to fix on the secondary against Maryland.
They apparently did a pretty intense one-on-one scrimmage on Saturday.
Okay. Who is the worst quarterback in the Big Ten East, and why is it between Milton and Clifford?
Milton and Clifford and Milton. By the way, awful names. Milton and Clifford. Did these guys play football in the 50s?
And Clifford's not even wearing red.
No. No, he's not. I think it's Clifford. The quarterback whose name is it? I forget his name. He's the quarterback for Rutgers. It's not Vrabel, but it looks like it. Mm-hmm. I forget his name. All I can think of is Vrabel. He's not any good either. We just don't talk about it because it's Rutgers. But yeah, I'm probably going to roll Clifford. Clifford's probably not even going to have a job.
Vadril.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
Clifford. I don't think he's even going to have a job next week, and I think Milton will.
All right. One more question from Brawley. What's the best game to look forward to from a national scope for the rest of the season?
I think it's Ohio State, Indiana. We've already had Notre Dame versus Clemson. That was a big game from a national perspective. And again, I assume we're not counting the conference championship games because like Bama, Florida will be huge, but we aren't counting that. Florida's going to win the East. Bama's going to win the West. 2020 is 2020 and chaos happens and so on and so forth. But I feel like our playoff teams, although there's more than 4 of them, are pretty set. I just don't see any of those teams losing a game that they should lose. Again, anyone can lose a game they shouldn't lose.
Yeah, looking forward here, Jared, to like kind of jump into Friday's episode. This weekend's games,
yeah,
we have some pretty good ones. It's some really good ones.
We're just going to leave that tease there? I thought you were going to keep going.
Nope.
Okay. All right.
We have some really good ones next weekend, especially after a abysmal set of games last weekend. This one is really good.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks have been stinkers. Last week was a real stinker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we at least had Clemson Notre Dame 2 weeks ago. And we at least had an Ohio State game 2 weeks ago. Yeah, this last week, I may or may not have fallen asleep watching Notre Dame Boston College.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Austin Formation. Oh, he has a lot of questions here. Let's try to knock these through here quickly. With COVID obviously on everyone's mind, I think it is less likely to see a coach get fired. With that being said, what would it take this season to see Franklin Harbaugh go? Would Harbaugh just be given one more season and his contract run out?
I've given my opinion on how I think that's going to play out. And I'm of the opinion that Franklin should not lose his job for this season for reasons I've laid out. Kyle, do you any disagreement with any of that on the stuff I've already said?
No, I don't really have anything else that's pretty dead on.
Thank you. All right, next question.
If I told you Indiana didn't turn the ball over once, threw over 300 yards and ran for 200, what percentage would you give Indiana to win over Ohio State? Are these numbers still not enough to beat Ohio State team with probably the best offensive attack in the country?
500 yards and no turnovers. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. And of course, I think it matters a lot when in the game that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, as we've talked about with Penn State, what you do in the red zone. I mean, what percentage chance do I still give Ohio State to win? Probably still like 66. So
giving Indiana a 33% chance to win.
Yeah. With those stats as a given.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen too, and we'll cover it more on Friday, Indiana's defense, not all that good.
No one's defense is good this year. No one's.
Yeah.
There's two types of teams. Teams who've been exposed on defense and teams who have not played a good offense yet.
This game is, and I kind of jokingly said this in our Discord. The question was thrown around, how do you stop like Florida's offense? So Florida's offense, you can really argue that Florida's offense is the best offensive attack in the country, the way they've been playing. And I kind of half jokingly, but probably in all seriousness, the way to stop or beat Florida is with your own offense. And that's exactly what Indiana will have to do here. Ohio State's going to score points. They're going to be able to move the ball efficiently. Indiana is just going to have to respond.
Friend of the podcast, Tony Gerdeman, said on Twitter about Notre Dame that they're very good, but their pass defense won't hold up against Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, who again they did not play, Mac and Mac Jones.
Yeah. And
I responded to him going, whose will anyone's?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is no.
Yep, exactly. All right. Let's see. Is there any silver of a chance Olave will come back next year?
No.
I don't think so.
I
don't think it's the way he's been playing. He really solidified himself as one of the best receivers in the country.
And then also add the fact that Justin Fields will also leave. Yeah. So if you're Olave, the only way Olave would consider coming back is if Justin Fields also came back. And that's not happening.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. What is your favorite Thanksgiving side dish? 1, to make, and 2, to eat.
Side dish. I'm real basic on my side dishes. I like rice. I like mashed potatoes. I actually made some mashed potatoes recently, like some homemade ones, because I had some potatoes that I just needed to do something with. And I did it was probably 2/3 sweet potato and 1/3 russet potato. And I just mixed it all together and it was really good. That's it. That's all I have.
Yep, to eat. To eat.
Seasoned with S&P, bud.
Yes. To eat, definitely, you can have a really good seasoned mashed potatoes. That's always really good. And to make, I'm a very simple guy. I don't like to take a long time to make food. So anything easy to make.
So Kyle also says mashed potatoes, but the instant ones.
Let's see here. I know it's a long ways away, and I'll work itself out. But let's say this happens: undefeated Ohio State, undefeated Oregon, one loss Clemson, one loss Notre Dame, who loses to Clemson in the ACC title game. One loss Florida, one loss Alabama, undefeated Cincy, undefeated BYU, and one loss Oklahoma State. Who's in?
Jeez.
Well, definitely Ohio State and Florida. I would definitely put those two right there. Ohio State, Florida.
Clemson.
I would put Clemson and Oregon then. I would put your four conference champions in right there. If it's undefeated Oregon, undefeated Ohio State, and then Clemson is your ACC champ, Florida is your SEC champ. The more I'm looking at that, I think that's it right
well,
there.
and that's also just the way for the committee to get away without any real scars, is just to put the 4 conference champions in.
Yes.
Yeah, so I agree with Kyle.
All right, cool. All right.
It's hard to see a playoff without Bama this year, because I legitimately think they're one of the best 3 teams in the country. But given what has been laid out there, I think Kyle's right.
Mm-hmm. All right. And our good moderator at the Discord asks us, Jared.
His name's Jug, or at least that's his name in Discord land.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he wants me saying his real name or not.
We'll just call him Jug.
So we'll call him Jug.
Mod Jug. Who will win a 50-yard foot race? Jared or Kyle?
I want to say that Mod Jug sounds like a character from The Mandalorian. Mod Jug.
Yes.
Okay. Kyle would win. I am not a fast individual. I am not.
I did the hurdles in high school, so
I played offensive line in high school. Yes, I've lost weight.
And yes, I've gained weight. All right.
National scope. Lightning round.
Lightning round. All right. Let's see. Iowa beats Minnesota 35-7. Did not see it being that big of a. Yeah.
bottom of the lake. Boats at the bottom of the lake. That's all I got.
Yep. Cincinnati defeats the Pirates, and no surprise, 55-17. And we have a very salty Pirate head coach who got upset at Fickle for going for it on doing a fake punt.
Yeah, well, I got a salute pick, so that's all that matters. By the way, I defeated Cousin Jay. I didn't mean to rhyme there, but either way.
I didn't even look at it, but either way, we're moving on.
I did, Kyle, and you didn't. I beat him on a tiebreaker, by the way.
Nice.
I went 5-2 and had the tiebreaker. He also went 5-2. I think you had 4.
Yeah, 4.
You went 4 and 3.
That's reasonable. Yeah.
Everyone had a really good week in the slow picks this week.
Yes. The leaders was Tanner, Abandoned Ohio Cemetery, and Clint had 6.
There you go.
All right. North Carolina defeats Wake Forest after being down 21, 59-53. Wow. That's a high scoring game there.
What Kyle said.
All right. Miami comes back to beat Virginia Tech 25-24.
This is our only one of 2 only real chances for Team Chaos this weekend, and
yes,
Miami pulled it out.
Let's see. West Virginia defeats DCU 24-6. Indiana defeats Michigan State 24-0. Big old 0 for Sparty.
Michigan State bad.
Yeah.
And Kyle just got done telling us that the Indiana defense is bad. Well, shut out. And I know it's Michigan State. I get it, but still, shut out.
Yeah. The Thundering Herd defeats Middle Tennessee 42-14.
That moving up the ranks.
Yep. Moving up the ranks too. Liberty defeats Western Carolina 58-14.
Woohoo.
Illinois defeats Rutgers 23-20.
You know what? Maybe I'm feeling better about Michigan beating Rutgers this weekend.
The Raging Cajuns.
I don't know why you included this one.
I don't either. Okay. Notre Dame defeats Boston College 45-31.
I wanted that to be closer. I was so sure. That's one of the sloop picks I missed. I wanted it to be closer. You Boston College. Listen up, Boston College guys. Don't kick field goals. Just stop. No more field goals. Stop.
Yep. Oh man, this one came down to the wire. I remember going back and forth at the very end here, but USC tops Arizona 34-30.
Yeah, this is another game. Arizona could have broke up a pass that would have ended the game, and it got over the defenders by millimeters.
Yeah. As we mentioned earlier, Northwestern staying undefeated, beating Purdue 27-20.
Northwestern plays Wisconsin this weekend. Ohio State plays Indiana this weekend. We could be deciding the Big Ten championship game this weekend.
Could be. The Ducks.
Yeah.
Going 2-0 over Washington State 43-29.
On their way.
Mm-hmm. Mention how great their offense is and showcase here both their offense and how bad the defense is as well. But Florida beats Arkansas 63-35.
Kyle Trask had a Justin Fields-esque game. I think it was 6 touchdowns. I think it legitimately was one of those Justin Fields-esque games where he had more touchdowns than incompletions.
Yeah. Crazy.
And it's not to say Arkansas is any good, but Kyle Trask is very, very good.
Yeah. And like I mentioned at the very beginning of the episode, probably if you want to consider team chaos, but we're not going to though, but Tulsa defeats SMU 28-24. And I'm sure at this point, Tulsa will be ranked, but we don't talk about that.
Aren't these numbers on your graphic already updated?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, because Indiana shows here Indiana's 10, but they've moved up to 9th. So,
okay, that's fine.
No.
Why are we talking about rankings?
I don't know. But that's it. That is all the games here, and all the other games. I don't care.
Yeah. By the way, to revisit Brawley's question, national scope game, Northwestern, Wisconsin.
And that's why I said next weekend, there's some good games.
Yeah. Just so I'm clear, Bama and Florida do not play each other in the regular season. Is that correct?
I don't believe so. I'm going to double check, but nope. Florida plays LSU as a cross. So no.
Yeah. Most national scope interesting game left in the regular season. I think it really might be Ohio State, Indiana. I think that's like...
It really could be this weekend.
Yeah.
Really could, because I'm trying to look at other games upcoming
should run...
here. I just don't really see anything.
Again,
honestly.
Talking purely regular season, no conference championship games, purely regular season. Ohio State should run the table, and their biggest obstacle is this weekend. Bama should run the table. Clemson should run the table. Notre Dame should run the table. Florida should run the table. And again, should. And 2020 is a year of chaos. So who knows? But I don't think there's any real huge marquee matchups left.
No, we're coming down to the end here with some of the other conferences, while the Big Ten and even the Pac-12 is getting about halfway through their season now.
Yeah. More so the Big Ten for halfway, unless we're talking about Wisconsin, in which case not so much.
Yeah.
Well, still halfway because those games were canceled, not postponed. Yep. Thank you, Kevin Warren.
Yep. Hashtag fire Kevin Warren.
Always and forever.
All right, and that is all. That is all for today's episode.
Awesome. I want to encourage everyone to check out the master link, thesloopcast.com. All that is what you call a campsite link. That links you to other things. So go ahead and check that out. Check out our merch store, Kyle. The Ohio State University, because I wore it on the morning show with Tom Orr. took down claiming rights over our Ninja Turtle merch. Not Nickelodeon. Ohio State. All it said was the Buckeye Sloopcast. And it was in Ninja Turtle font and layout. What right, Ohio State University, if Nickelodeon did it, we could have conversations. What right, Ohio State, do you have to claim that one? For God's sakes, look at this poster right here, Ohio State. Brutus is literally in it. You left this one up. If you took this one down, do you see this poster? If you took this one down, I'd get it. I'd say, you know what? Good on you. I got away with that one. Really? You think I'm a Ninja Turtle shirt? So go get my merch while you still can. Especially this one, because now that I've pointed it out, Ohio State will probably be coming for it next. So get my merch while you still can. So yeah, get it while you can. Make sure to join our Discord server. We're growing every week. It was very, very busy this weekend. I had a lot of fun in the Discord server. If you notice me tweeting less, it's because I'm spending more time in the Discord server because Twitter is increasingly toxic. So I'm spending more time in the Discord server. But we are active in it. It's not a thing we set up and walk away from. You will have conversations with Kyle and I in the Discord server. I promise you that. And then even more so if you're in the premium channels, and you can get into the premium channels by signing up at our Patreon, and you can get there, patreon.thesloopcast.com. You can get to the Discord, discord.thesloopcast.com. Discord, if you have never used it, is basically, I call it a hybrid between a message board and a group text. That's how I describe it. It's an app you download on your phone. After you do that, go to a web browser, type in discord.thesloopcast.com. You'll create an account. You'll get access. We'll say hi to you. We'll have a conversation. It'll be fun. Kyle, I think that's just like I said, just check out the master link, and then from the master link, you'll find all the other things. Mm-hmm. Kyle, do you have anything in Kyle's Corner for this week?
Not really. I know I mentioned, I think, last episode, but the Crew plays this weekend.
Okay.
They start off the MLS playoffs. So I'll have more information on Friday's episode, but the Crew
you do have some
playing this weekend.
You do have some sad news from
my high school lost to very, very good Coldwater team. A couple of injuries, unfortunate for Columbus Grove, but Coldwater just the better team overall, as the Bulldogs losing the state semifinals.
There wasn't a ton of hope going in.
No, Coldwater is they're just really, really good. There's a reason they were ranked number 1 in Division 6 for a reason.
Yep.
But a good season for the Dogs.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about this on the Friday episode. In a season in which a lot of high school players only got to play in a handful of games in a hyper shortened regular season, I think it's reward enough to have gotten to play some semblance of a full season. So congrats to the Columbus Grove Bulldogs for doing that. I know the St. Clairsville Red Devils, I think, got knocked out the week previous. But again, they got into the playoffs. Everyone got into the playoffs, but they won a few games and got something closer to a regular season. So congrats to them as well.
Yep. All right, and that is all.
All right, everyone. Tonight's ending music will be brought to you by a band. They are from Columbus, Ohio. I almost said Cleveland. They're from Columbus, Ohio. They are called the Soul Monsters. Make sure to check the show notes for a link to their stuff. As well as the name of the song and a link to the song. You can, like I said, find all that down in the show notes. So with all of that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, Kyle, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is the Soul Monsters. Sup, YouTube? Join the Discord because I don't want to be on Twitter. That's we have free channels now. We have premium channels. We also have free channels. The free channels are growing in size. It's not as active as I want it yet, but it's growing in activity. We have some fun bots. We have the helmet sticker game, which...
It's a lot of fun.
What's that?
I said it's a lot of fun.
It shouldn't be fun, but it is. It's a lot. I suck at it.
Next weekend, Jared?
Yeah.
Or this next weekend's game? Three top 25 matchups.
Oh, wow. Kyle, you're talking quietly, and that's causing the noise.
Okay. Better.
All right, let's rejoin our audio listeners.
All right.
Oh, wait, before we do that, we have an Apollo sighting.
Oh, hello, Apollo.
All right, we're going to do this ad read with Apollo on the lap. I'll go first. Want to once again thank the Soul Monsters for ending today's episode, and I would like to once again thank the Iron Bean Coffee Company for sponsoring today's episode. All right, so first we did talking about some stuff you can buy there, and then we talked about why you should buy there. So let's talk about some specific coffees. I think last episode I talked about the dark roast. So let me talk about a medium roast. Let's talk about the Rage Against the Dying Light. It has notes of cherry, milk chocolate, orange, and a slight hint of rose petal. That's a great medium roast. The Ride or Die is a gentle and distinctive version, and you can actually see this is a big bag of the Ride or Die. I have not opened it yet, but there it is. It's a Brazilian yellow bourbon coffee bean with superb smoothness and flavor. And Kyle, one of my personal favorites from the sampler pack that I have opened and drank so far would be the Cast Iron. It's once again a medium roast that is 100% single origin Honduran Arabica beans. If you don't know anything about coffee, that might not mean anything to you, except for the fact that it's real good. It's real good. It's real good. So yeah, you can buy that, or you can buy some flavored coffees. There's the carrot cake, the blueberry, the mint chocolate chip. And like I said, there's lots of great coffees. And if you don't know what to buy the coffee snob in your life, you can always just get them a gift card or the sampler pack. And you can buy all of that stuff at ironbeancoffee.com. Once again, that is ironbeancoffee.com, America's local coffee roaster.
This episode of the Sloopcast was also brought to you by the Mad Canadian Barbecue Company. Mentioned in the middle of the episode, I'll mention it again here at the end here. Mad Canadian has cooked up some special gifts for your barbecuer in your life. He has 3 sets, such as the Just Send It, which includes the S&P Bud, the Sonoran Heat, the Cajun, and the Smoked.
I would say that's a great starter set.
That's fantastic.
Those are probably 4 of his most versatile spices. So if you're someone who does a lot of different things, or if you're a very basic cooker, if you're not someone who necessarily does a lot of spice or so on and so forth, that's a great starter set of very versatile spices.
Yeah, this next one, I would almost call this like your wing set. He has this called the Sweet Heat. 4 Horsemen, Discord, 2 Border, and the Old Fashioned.
Yeah, that's a great point, Kyle. That's a wing set. If you're someone who likes some spicy wings, yeah, I agree. That's a wing set.
Mm-hmm. Or you can get the whole hog. The whole 14 seasoning package here. One of each bottles of the seasonings he has, as Jared tries to can't hold all these seasonings. Only people on YouTube can see that. Check out those 3 gift sets at the madcanadianbbq.com for prices, as he hasn't listed them just yet. But check out the madcanadianbbq.com for the pricings and to order any of those sets. Be sure to also use promo code SLOOPCAST10, that's SLOOPCAST10, for 10% more off your entire order. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, where they have your butt covered for Christmas.
Hey, YouTube. Once again, my face is a playlist if you want to listen to more episodes of the Sloopcast. Kyle's face is the subscribe button. It's either subscribe to the Buckeye Scoop or subscribe to us, depending upon where you're watching it. We don't care where you watch it, but it would be really cool if you subscribe to both. But again, watch it wherever you want, as I am just trying to kill time while I put all those bottles down. So, Kyle's face, subscribe. My face, playlist.
See you all Friday.
Peace, everybody.